Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with the former world champion Terran in the red. It's Micro Jackson, ByuN, facing off against Cyril's greatest stunt double, the Rocky Zerg in the blue. We have Solar in a best of 5 Terran versus Zerg showdown on the new StarCraft 2 balance patch with plenty of discussion early, but nobody asking why you should smash that like button and maybe even subscribe. How we got to the algorithm, and Jimmy, what are we at? Somebody will translate. 1,724 likes on this video, on this cast. And I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways because I don't know what else I'd do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. Solar starts out by saying, thank you, Bomyolja, that it's a Terran map. Now, I might argue any map that has a ramp and is an open field is a Terran map, but I'm not in the game. Meanwhile, ByuN counters with the legendary Counter-Strike. It's a Zerg map. Pack it up. Got him. All right. So, we will see at the end of the day who's right and who is going to take this argument to the comments. So, in case you're wondering, where the balanced discussion and the sort of trash talking when it comes to which race is more favored on which map and other sorts of enlightened things ends. The answer is, it doesn't. In fact, who's more qualified than these two of the top 10 players in the world to know? Now, it also kind of implies that they've played this map very little. From the Team Liquid map contest, we'll see if it ends up winning. You're already too late. If you didn't vote in the Team Liquid map contest, we don't get to complain about the maps that end up getting picked. Because as you're seeing this, the voting is ended. And I'm excited to see at least 2 of the finalists are guaranteed to shake up the map pool for next season. Or whenever we're changing it. It's never really been necessarily tied to the seasons. Just like my name. So here we are. On that note, or actually completely unrelated, but just say it confidently, the Reaper is coming in. Solar has already taken a third here on Tidal Citadel. And also is going to try to drive the Reaper away with his words, as well as his actions. ByuN laughing at it, whatever it is, or relying on Bomyolja to fill us in on the follow-up here. Meanwhile, the Zerglings try to slip in. The classic chat them up and send your Zerglings in at the same time. But ByuN already has a couple Marines back at home, not taking any of it. See if we get the translation in a moment. But these two... okay, rush distance here is long. Solar? Starting to admit that, I was wondering. You know what? I think they're coming around to agreeing that it's not a terrible map for Zerg. The sheer amount of distance between the bases is almost always more relevant for Zerg. I think it rolls over at a certain point where, if the rush distance is too long, then coming back to defend against things like drops or... okay, even battle cruisers becomes an issue. But generally, the medium-large size maps, like apparently this one, are pretty good for Zerg to get an extra few drones snuck out before worrying too much about units. Though, almost always need to be just a little bit worried, as the danger starts very early on and just continues throughout as it scales up. The Reaper knocks the Queens out of the way, picks off Creep Tumor, but there's a second one at the back. Starts Interference Matrix to try to convince... wow, it's a fake! I think he canceled it still in vision range of the Zergling. But clearly trying to bait Solar into thinking he's going for Banshee Cloak. And he is not, actually. Kind of surprising, but... Jimmy, what? Were you touching me? Sorry. Now, with the changes in the patch... wow, we didn't even do the patch spiel because the players were too busy distracting me from saying pretty much the patch notes every time in one of these games. But with Banelings having 5 more HP after speed, Ghosts having 25 more HP in general, but also being light units with less supply... you know what? I think we've graduated at this point, unless there are new changes to the patch. If they become relevant, I'll mention it. But we don't need me to narrate the patch notes with every game, because let's be honest, who's paying that close attention anyways? Like and subscribe if you agree. Double NG May behind. +1 Carapace is the choice. Solar covering all his units and all his bases so far. The creep's starting to work its way out. ByuN has done a pretty good job of taking out the creep tumors that have stretched out towards the front early on. But as the roaches, the sloaches here, are able to box out the Hellions, the options for actually keeping the creep at bay, minimal at best. ByuN holding on to 2 Banshees. Even though he doesn't have Cloak, just holding them back, and we've seen him do this before. The delayed Banshee timing, which ends up getting a ridiculous amount of damage done sometimes. Because we're well past the point anyone's thinking about Banshees. Banshees come in like 4:35 minutes. Past the 6-minute mark, you are very much not thinking about how much damage Banshees are going to do. And the Banshees taking the most scenic path past the Moopies over here celebrating. Clearly not a reference to anything. All the way along the north side. The roaches box out the Hellions. Queen's at the back. Drones pulled away. And the Spore Crawler's well positioned, but the Queen not so much. Karen, no! Oh, she's fine. Yeah, that's unfortunate, right? Don't say it out loud, Susan! Why are you so loud? This is disproportionate. I'm off my meds ever since the patch. I thought the patch was so crazy that it would balance it out. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah. Sorry, I blacked out for... Lurker Den is on the way, Solar, with his tech shrubbery here outside the 3rd base. A bit of everything. Infestation Pit, Evolution Chamber, Hydra Den, Lurker Den, and Infestor on the way. We'll see if Microbial Shroud makes a cameo appearance. Though so far it has been possibly the most underwhelming change in the patch. Because Microbial Shroud takes an upgrade, it takes 100 energy, and the way the Infestor gains energy is by sitting there looking pretty. And let's be honest here, I mean, I'm not judging if you're into it, but the Infestor is not exactly winning any beauty contests anytime soon. So, because Fungal is such an important thing to have in almost every fight, and having too many Infestors is a liability, especially against someone who has potentially ghosts, or, you know, other units that can shoot, unlike the Infestor itself, we rarely see a Zerg player with enough energy to justify it, let alone spending anything on another upgrade. So, Microbial Shroud, with its budget Dark Swarm, Timu Dark Swarm, with 50% damage reduction from just ranged units, may on paper sound great, but we don't play this game on paper. We play it on, I believe the system requirements say, originally Windows XP, but I think we've graduated past that. Now it's Windows 11 or else. What about Linux? Okay, stop. Stop. Don't even start. Meanwhile, the Marines moving up towards the north side, and Solar somehow not seeing this push until it was already entrenched. Fungal thrown out, the Marines holding their ground, the Roaches and Ravagers working their way through. Corrosive Bow's good. I don't think ByuN really noticed the Lurkers on the back line. They don't have range done yet. He's actually going for Adaptive Talons, which is Lurker Burrow Speed first. Though, the Banshee's also getting involved. ByuN not getting nearly as much progress as maybe he was hoping for. Solar caught a little bit off guard, but able to adapt in time. And there just wasn't enough to push through. The Lurkers slicing through a lot of the front line, the Ravagers knocking out the siege tanks. And past that, Solar still holding strong, and a 5th base is already online. The siege tank's not sieged up. The Roach Hydra Ravager making its way down. Another Infestor forces the entire army back. The Fungal's thrown out, and it catches such a massive chunk. Oh no! It's a disaster for ByuN. The Banshees actually knock out the Infestor on the back line, but the damage was already done. 185 to 146 supply. Solar has taken a decisive lead in game number 1. Lurker range is about to complete, and the fact that he went for Lurker Speed Burrow first and got away with it makes it that much easier to potentially translate this into a winning position. But ByuN, despite the losses on the field, is still on the field, which is very important because now, building ghosts at home, a planetary fortress at the 4th base, Solar does need to go through this excruciating choke point. A watchtower with siege tanks next to it in the middle of the map, which, of course, gives him a great idea of what's going on here. The siege tanks try to target fire the lurkers, but so many closing in, the sheer weight of Zerg is bearing down on the Terrans. But this, oh my. Solar fought into the most entrenched possible position in the map, and it did not go well for him. I thought he might just have the unit count, but this is a wall, by the way. There's a high ground cliff here. You cannot, you really can't even flank this army. Of course, you can come around the left side, but the fact that siege tanks, this is kind of why we stopped doing watchtowers in the middle of the map, by the way, because of almost exactly this scenario. Most watchtowers, even the ones in the middle, usually have a twist to it, like only being walled off on one side or something like that. But the siege tanks holding down the entire center of the map while getting extra vision to spot for themselves, I think is a bit much. But Solar has decided that maybe going around is a good idea. A Nidus on the way, the Ghosts with their 25 more HP. They're light units now, unlike your mother, but with no Banelings at all, there's nothing to take advantage of that. They're just better. And they only cost 2 supply now, as opposed to 3. They've slimmed down, but yet somehow are beefier. It's lean muscle, okay? That's what I tell everyone. So, another Nidus, but the Widow Mines may make it... Oh, that's not a wall. He's actually just popping out the Lurkers. ByuN not taking this seriously enough, and suddenly the Lurkers and the boys are pulled off the line! What is that? ByuN! Oh, no, it's a disaster! A ByuNder! Blunder. ByuN blunder. Got what I was going for, I hope. Give me that out. Meanwhile, more Lurkers just slicing through the Ghosts. And ByuN, Terran forward, will knock out the base at the front. And this has gone from a kerfuffle to a quandary now, as he comes in from every side. 22 SCVs dead. The Nidus network itself could be targeted. The mass Ghost with the army, but he doesn't have Baneling speed. He lines up the shots. The Banelings are closing in on creep. The Ghost's pretty vulnerable here. Picks up some of them, goes straight towards the main. Multiple spore crawlers. It's a bloodbath across the field. Lurkers will burrow down. Voices are cracking. I'm not gonna name names, but oh, it was a little embarrassing. Meanwhile, there's still Lurkers at the natural. Adrenal glands on the way. But what a disaster piece of a game. ByuN has lost a huge chunk of his economy, and instead of taking his win on the field, he dug too deep and too greedily. He sent the medevacs into the main. He lost 2 with the units inside, and now it looks like he's determined to lose the rest. 3 Cloak Ghosts made it into the medevac on the way out, and the Hydra's just simply not fast enough to chase it down. But, okay, now what? I think Solar's ahead. So, what is the scenario? Solar still has 5 going on 6 bases. He kept his army alive. And ByuN lost starport units. He lost his medevacs, diving in towards the main, going for that. He went for everything and came up with almost nothing. Losing your starport units at this stage of the game means he can't easily transition into Liberators. And that would be the combination with the Ghosts that he really needs in order to zone out the Lurkers. Ghosts are good, but flesh is weak and malleable. And with the Fungals as a threat and the sheer amount of Banelings on the field now, another Infestor, EMP lands, just gives up on this base entirely. The SCVs in a precarious position. ByuN is not maxed out, but Solar at 200 supply. Banelings rolling in. The SCVs evaporating. Now some more Banelings getting closer. There's a single Infestor that could end the game on its own. A Fungal comes out, and without any Banelings, it becomes difficult to break the critical mass of Ghosts. But Solar, well, we've seen ByuN versus Solar before, with Solar coming up a little short on actually killing ByuN, and then spending 10 minutes regretting that decision. But the infestors, no, no, do not stand. Well, it was bait. Masterfully done. Totally, 100%. And wow, baits the ghost into a money fungo. And without that critical mass of them, the lurkers and the banelings are crashing through. And I think a decisive conclusion has been reached. GG. As Solar proves, it was a Zerg map all along. Wow, these two. What a mess. Oh. ByuN underestimated. He failed to deal with the Nidus. Alright? The Nidus, he kind of just did the minimalist approach. 2-3 lurkers pop out, which is bad. And then 4 or 5 lurkers popped out, which was way worse. And then winning the fight on the field, pulling up into the medevacs, and diving into the spore crawlers on the main. Not exactly the ideal play for, at least for his life expectancy. But I'm excited to go into map 2, Mothership. And, I mean, just take a look. You can figure out why it's called that. Does it actually go off the side of the minimap? A 3-player map as well, which adds that extra wrinkle. Makes things interesting, but also sometimes more cheesy. It feels like we've accepted a few 3-player maps in the pool. 4-player maps, I like the way that StarCraft Evo handles it. The SC1 versus SC2 mod. 4-player maps, but they tell you which spawn is not taken. It actually, they have the indicator for the first 90 seconds of the game, so players can see. It essentially turns a 4-player map into a 3-player map. I think having 4-player maps is cool because I was so excited about it, I just couldn't get the words out of my mouth. All right, you ever been so excited? Thankfully, they're gonna distract with these. Like and subscribe for words, but we'll rely on Bully Older for this one. What was I saying? But 4-player maps create a different dynamic with more hidden bases, potentially separate economies. Less relevant in StarCraft 2 because everything moves so fast compared to StarCraft 1. Like, physically, not that the players aren't fast in StarCraft 1. Is this a Terran map? Solar. Are we just going to do this every game? Okay, so ByuN played in the Team Liquid map contest. Solar was on vacation during it, which is why he didn't play. So this may be the first time Solar's playing on this map. But I do like the idea that every time we load into the game, he's just going to ask. So it's not a Terran map. I do actually like that conclusion he's drawing. Because if ByuN thought it was a Terran map, he would have played it more. Because he wouldn't have vetoed it in the tournament, in the map contest. So honestly, now, you could actually watch one of ByuN's games on this map. I believe it was 40 minutes long against Yan Yakov. Yeah, this was the one. So, if that's the one game he's referencing, he definitely probably has a mixed opinion. He did win, but it was a whole process, and there were a lot of ghosts. I think he had like 17 command centers. Anyways, also there's the little bit of not wanting to give Solar too. Okay, so this is the Pigosaurus Cup put on by Pig and the Stegosaurus team. You got to wall up. You can't just go command center first into 2 rags every game. And he didn't. Last game he went with the 1-1-1, and that didn't work out, so he's trying the command center first on a 3-player map. But, yeah. Losing my train of thought here, getting derailed constantly. Did you go CC first, you greedy, cheesy Terran fiend? 26. Okay, now I have no idea. The numbers being mixed in is what's sending me. I'm waiting with everyone else. I love the words per minute. Now, it's really a thing. And it's been pointed out to me. Some of you may have experienced this, but the style of speaking, like, you're trying to get the words out between your build order, is pretty distinct to especially competitive multiplayer gamers, especially RTS gamers, because there's no break in the action for you to complain about your teammates when you're already dead. So the feeling of like having these half sentences constantly is quite unique, especially... Stop letting Zerglings in! But yeah, the half sentences are not how everyone speaks on the internet, believe it or not. I had to train myself out of it because every once in a while I like to pretend to be professional. I think most people just use ChatGPT for that now, which I get accused of because I know what words are and I know how to speak them without a robot bastardizing my own... You see, if I could... Did ByuN not scout the whole game and is now going the wrong direction? You greedy Terran. 5 minutes in. And he was going the wrong way with his Marines. That's how little he cared about what Solar was doing. Was for 5 minutes. He didn't even know which direction his enemy was. But would that have changed the build? Unlikely. They'll expect some of us in the wreckage, brothers. 2 Marines will be left behind. The Zergling's gonna take down the rocks to make it a little bit less difficult to deal with. It's a messy day today. It's one of those days where I just can't string together multiple sentences without them falling apart. So, thank you for sticking with me. The queens. No one here does very much damage to rocks, but they're trying anyways. The knitting needles barely scratching them. The Zerglings doing marginally more. But another push is coming across the map. There's a pretty nice tank position. Right up against the monster logo there. A monster tank position, if you would. That was terrible. Jimmy, edit that out. The Marines. And now here come the tanks. Baneling speed is on the way. This is not a watchtower. It's just a messed up pylon. Maybe it's supposed to be like the Ark ship thing. A mothership. Moving on. But not entirely sure how much Solar knows about this. Now the siege tanks will be spotted, but backs off the moment the volley hits the queens. Solar just gonna give up on that base. Sending out a counterattack, cut off some reinforcements. Solar only has 57 drones, but ByuN does not have a third command center done, so he is kind of dependent on getting some damage here. Queen's holding, needs that Baneling speed. The +5 HP is absolutely critical. Since ByuN isn't on a third base, Solar doesn't have a huge obligation to try to break this too early. But he does have Baneling speed done now. There's no high ground vision in this exact location. Is that enough Zerglings to cut off the reinforcements? I don't think so. Neither does Solar, trying to bring it around the queens. Still taking some big hits on the field. But the biomass and the... Oh, Lings and Banes added in now. ByuN looking the other way. And just a little bit too late on slurping up the Marines. Single siege tank, though. And, oh, wait, how close can you get? Can he hit the mineral line with that? I think if he put it in the right spot, it's likely, but now gonna do the double tier push. Oh, Brenda, where? No, not like this! This is the worst possible angle! I mean, well, I don't... The siege tank's getting huge hits on the Banes. ByuN pulling back. The Queen's closing in. And that's one of those fights that looks like a win for Solar. And on the field, yes, but in the grand scheme of things, ByuN has more workers. Solar is only halfway through his infestation pit. That was a very costly fight. A lot of Zerglings, 94 Zerglings and 11 Banes, and those are just the ones that were targeted before they could attack. Solar is in a very uncomfortable position as a Zerg right now. in trying to deal with one of the most cost-efficient unit compositions with worse units. Again, gonna target down a few more drones. Some of the Marines get caught on the other side. ByuN, absolutely no respect. Targets down some more drones. We'll pick up and head back for the main, but this time around, Solar does not have the defenses ready. Oh, he found the spot with the siege tanks. I think very intentionally there's some doodads here to make it difficult. The siege tanks themselves can't hit the mineral line, but the Marines very much can. And it's drop o'clock as DJ ByuN dropping the base in multiple places simultaneously. The Queens are holding, the medevac doing its best, healing on either side, a surprisingly slow-moving fight. Solar knows the siege tanks are back there, but the drops are just tearing them apart right now. A hive is halfway done. ByuN is getting what he needs out of this, though. Slowly grinding through the Queens, and there's no easy way to dislodge this without Vipers. The medevacs may be straying into the fray. Still a medevac literally into the fire, thankfully. That's just cosmetic. Meanwhile, Marines in the main base. And ByuN is down 15 supply. But that may change momentarily. More hits, good targeting on the Banes. Tries to pick up the Marines. And flies away. The air blockers around the side. Is that an air blocker, or is that just the path he chose? Unclear. But Solar scrapes together 68 drones. He's got 2 Vipers in production, and ByuN, he's got another army on the way. Started as +3 infantry weapons. Another brawl across the field. But the medevacs have survived throughout the literal fire and a whole bunch of fury. The Vipers are out. Siege tanks can no longer be abducted, but Blinding Cloud is still a strong option. Oh, look at that spread. Can't believe it's not butter. The Marines are about to have the +2 armor as well. Right now, +2 Carapace and +1 melee for Zerg. Working on +2 melee, but it's still pretty far off. Hydra speed still 20 seconds out. ByuN, if he can take out the 4th base again, that's a critical blow to Solar. But ByuN trying to move up. Wait, you can walk there. Yeah, you can walk around there. It doesn't look like you should be able to, but Blinding Cloud on the tanks. Pulls back into the corner. The medevacs now pull it all the way back. The sheer amount of Marines he picks up. And, well, 4 full medevacs able to extract themselves. And so we're pulling back before ByuN has the opportunity to make it too difficult for him. Another set of reinforcements headed north. This one with Widow Mines. Drilling Claws has begun. And the Marines look so crazy. So we're trying to hold it together here. Oh, he's dragging him into the mines. The mine. Oh, my. Oh, wow. Oh, that's a mess. Meanwhile, though, 40 supply of Marines just stimming and winning, gutting through the hatchery. And Solar, a win on the field, but can he translate it into real damage to ByuN? There's already a 4th base. It's 4 bases to 3 right now. Solar needs to get critical damage. The Marines undercutting most of the effort here. The planetary fortress at the 9 o'clock position. And ByuN has taken the supply lead. He's about to have +3 infantry weapons. Again, the Banelings get surprisingly close. Maybe that +5 HP doing a little bit more. Though the Marine pickups have been a bit on the slow side. ByuN losing a few more than maybe he needed, but still plenty to maintain the danger and force Solar to anchor his units on these outlying bases instead of focused on the attack. The Lurker Den's on the way yet again, but ByuN is up 20 supply and is going to have soon a 2 upgrade advantage. Target firing the base, getting to the corner, targets the Banes, and oh no. Oh. He got all the Banelings. He got the hatchery. The Vipers are out of position. Now ByuN is swinging in from the north side. It doesn't even matter if these Marines die, so I'm sure they're not hyped about that line of commentary. Fortunately, they won't be feeling anything for very long. ByuN splitting and stimming his way up, though. Solar has not been able to stabilize. He hasn't found the tech to deal with the army. The Marines and siege tanks just too well put. Oh, some of them survived. How annoying is that? Gonna do another elevator push up to the high ground. Solar cannot get a 4th base up, whereas ByuN is pretty comfortably mining from his and is working on a 5th down the center. Solar will have maybe an opportunity with the lurkers, but ByuN is already building ghosts. He's got 3-3, 13 drones dead. These Marines, 15 kills, will finally be taken out. Another drop at the natural. The 5th base under fire. The other 4th base has not yet been rebuilt. The Natury's dead. It's a disaster. A comprehensive beatdown across the board as ByuN just hits everything at once, and Solar unable to strike back in time. These two once again just laying into one another, and ByuN getting the better. If ByuN can get anything done with his first set of Marines and medevacs, it's feels like an uphill battle, sometimes literally, for the rest of the game for most Zergs. ByuN, Marines, and medevacs, the most iconic combo maybe in StarCraft 2 history, and to this day. We saw in Game 1, ByuN never really got the medevacs going. Solar already had the Roach Hydra by the time the first push came. You could see how much ByuN wanted to get the medevacs in there. He possibly lost the game because he dove into the main base with the Doom drop. But now we're going to Throne of the Dunes. I feel like I have to do very dramatic. Don't editorial. So far, minimal. I guess I was about to say minimal effect of the patch changes, but the Ghost having more HP in Game 1 wasn't enough to counterbalance. The Banelings having 5 more HP, definitely affecting pretty much every fight involving Banes. But it is just a return. So for about 2 years, we removed them. It was about 2 years ago during one of the Balance Council patches. This is a Blizzard patch, again, for the first time since like 2020. But where the Baneling was cut down to have 5 less HP and do less damage, or benefit less from upgrades against light units. So, not to be that guy, but the Baneling still is affected by that nerf. It used to get +2 damage per upgrade, +2 against light. Not sure these are the exact numbers, but now it no longer gets the +2 versus light. It's distributed differently at least. So the effect being, it does less damage overall against Marines, now Ghosts, Workers. Not a lot, but there's some pretty key breakpoints that it was hitting before, like one-shotting probes with +2, that it no longer does. Reaper headed across. Beautiful. This is definitely one of our most thematic maps. Feels like I'm in a Path of Exile zone, like that second act zone. Though the mini-map is, I mean, there are mixed feelings on sand, all right? Some people hate it. Some people find it coarse, irritable. They think it gets everywhere, but you know what? I'm not one to judge. Reaper. Is he out there, Brenda? You can see it. I'm just making conversation, all right? We're sitting here, both of us, still waiting for energy. What, are you talking in the... Are you narrating? Well, somebody has to. No, they don't. Agree to disagree. Sorry, I am blacked out for a moment. 20 Zerglings on the way. Solar, gonna try a cheeky Zergling run. A classic tactic. What is this? Did he go 3 CC before Starboard? ByuN! is so great. Oh, that's a lot of Zerglings. And he slipped by the Reaper. Oh, here we go. Now, ByuN has gone for one of the greediest possible builds. And he even built the third command center on the low ground. But he built it so early that it's not going to be... Oh, wait, is he going to let the Zerglings in? You know, that could help. 2 Hellions coming back. He's holding the door. Oh, 2... so early killed 2 SCVs. Lost 26 Zerglings. If I don't get a translation, we're going to figure that one out. I need to know what Solar is saying about that, because that was kind of a demonstration of why Zerg players don't even bother doing early aggression, because ByuN managed to defend 30 Zerglings with his bare hands and a box of scraps there. 2 Hellions. I don't understand that. Solar also. Oh, idiot. Oh, Solar also, like, are you kidding me? I got in. I hit it perfectly. I got into the base. There were only 2 units. And I still killed a grand total of 2 SCVs. He didn't even kill a Hellion. What? So ByuN got away with 3 CC. And now he's just gonna dive in. The Liberator Sieges, the Spore Crawler in position, so... I feel like it's Solar's turn to... You know... As they say... Clap back. A lot of editing today, Jimmy. Like and subscribe if you feel older than you actually are. Like and subscribe for Existential Dread. Like and subscribe for Ham-Fisted Sellout. Oh, speaking of, by the way, the new YouTube shopping tags. If you'd like to have headphones that survive getting thrown on the ground every time Hero plays, try out the Philips 50mm vented neodymium drivers with the little tag thingy below that YouTube keeps pushing me to use. And I'll get a percentage. I have no idea how high the percentage is. Honestly, I like it. My ears are sensitive. Very important. And also, they're kind of open, so they don't hurt my ears when I'm wearing them for way too many hours a day. This turned into an actual ad, but you know what? I'm rolling with it. I do like them, and it's free real estate. All right. That's as far as we're going for now. Baneling Nest is on the way. Armory. Let me know what other random stuff I have. Accessories to show off mid-game. Well, here's ByuN. Armory is done. Hellbat time. Alongside plenty of Marines. He does not have combat shield in production, but will he need it? The Zerglings just counter-attacking. The Baneling Nest is not done. It's getting real hot and heavy right now. And Solar does not... He has 13 Banelings in production. He's definitely not going to be holding on to his 4th base. It gets incinerated. The Hellbats, a little distracted by the Queens. The Zergling counterattack is great. Gets 7 SCVs. And the Baneling should be enough to stop the bleeding for now. So, when the somewhat literal smoke clears... It seems like Solar comes out okay. So, ByuN does have 2-2 on the way, and Solar does not have the +2 upgrade started, nor does he have a Hive. So, the current situation for Solar is okay. But if time goes on, it's not too long until ByuN's going to reach that critical mass of incredibly cost-effective Terran yet again. Jimmy, write down the timestamp. You're supposed to tag it for the sellout bit. I'm totally going to forget. I barely remember what I said 2 sentences ago. Ooh. Widowmon takes another bite. Baneling speed about to complete. The Zerglings slip in again with a reinforce. Oh. Base under fire. Reinforcements cleaning it up. The 5th hatchery will be taken down with ease. ByuN slurps up the Marines and actually supply blocks Solar. It's not going to get any easier here. Again, Solar's in this. He can't afford to defend and tech up, but he can't afford not to. You need to get to a hive. You need something more than Lings and Banes against a Terran with better upgrades and more supply. It's just not going to cut it. All he's doing right now is extending his death animation, unless he's able to get some sort of hive tech. We'll see. ByuN is nearly maxed out. 2-2's closing in. He eventually filled in that combat shield, obviously. Setting up the creep tumors, but Solar finally has the economy he's looking for, but not sure how long ByuN's gonna let him keep it. Banelings rolling in, the Hellbats taking a surprising amount. A Widow Mine, drilling claws completed. Transfuse afterwards. The drop loaded up, heads towards the main, and now an Ultralisk Cavern is on the way. But will it finish? Well, it really depends now. If ByuN walks into the Banelings without even being on a move, like, if he's on a move command, an A move, that's what happens. Just guns down the Bane. But on a move command into all the Banes, there might be a sliver of a dream. But the Widow Mines not getting their, not being dragged out. There's just too much DPS thinning out the Zerglings. 3-3 is on the way. Marauders already being added in. He saw the hive was done. Chitinous plating. Solar. So good at surviving. But the Banelings, again, struggling to close the distance before ByuN can just pick up and get out. He's got a 4th base with a planetary fortress. And you know, I don't like being the commentator. I hate it when commentators are like, oh, it's pretty much GG. All right, he's dead. And then the game goes on 5 more minutes. But I also don't like pretending like Solar had a great position and all he needs is one good fight to come back. He has been climbing an uphill battle pretty much since the Zergling attack failed. And ByuN has all the momentum on his side. So I think appropriately so, I'm saying that ByuN's in a tough... I mean, it's hard for ByuN to throw from this position. But now that Ultras are on the field and once Chitinous plating is done, it's a possibility. But until then, the Paperless is going to be targeted. The Marauder count is so damn high that he's... Oh. Well, it's hard to tell what's happening under there, but ByuN picks up anything else. The Widow Mines undercut the Banelings. And Solar has lived. That's what he's got going for him. Eventually, with these bases and this income, Chitinous plating is done. He hasn't really cut into ByuN's economy, but he can now replace enough... Okay, there's 15 medevacs, which is altogether way too many. He's building Liberators now. So, of ByuN's 100 army supply, 30 is medevacs, which is creating quite a quandary here. All right, Solar. Taking full advantage. The Widow Mine's connecting across the board. Overseer's coming in. ByuN losing a lot of depots. The Liberator's coming up. And there's absolutely no anti-air, but Solar has started a Spire, which doesn't take as long to finish and is a little cheaper to get started. 16 SCVs dead. And look at me calling it so early. But ByuN, I think, went into autopilot mode. Marines, Marauders, Medevacs, and Mines, and the M&M carried him across the field, but not all the way. The Ultras are out, and the Baneling count is so damn high. But the momentum is still very much in ByuN's favor. He has the upgrades, he has the supply, he has like 4 more command centers. So, he got a reality check there from Solar. But now, it may be checkmate. Another massive Widow Mine hit just wipes out half the Banelings. No infestors with the... This may have been the best use case. So, I was gonna say the best use case for Microbial Shroud, but Microbial Shroud does not reduce the damage of Widow Mines. So, because they're technically spell damage, the Planetary Fortress and Liberator tag team, oof, gonna take out another Ultra. And Solar's had enough. He taps it out. ByuN's on match point. It definitely is one of those games or one of those unit compositions you can throw with. All right. But ByuN got such a lead early. It would have been quite an impressive feat to drop that advantage. I blame the players, by the way. All right. Keep him, like, they're chatting it up so much. Such a casual, well, I mean, it's a big deal. But these two have played each other, I think it's somewhere around 700 or 800 times in StarCraft in professional matches. Let alone however much they faced on the ladder. I'm tired to sit up. Okay. I'm gonna lose and go to bed. That's how Solar... You're like, why didn't Solar do X, Y, and Z? Obviously, he wasn't sitting up. It's his posture. That's... ByuN with the pro tips, alright? Have you tried sitting... Solar over here looking like the World of Warcraft. You want to win more than anyone else. Nope, sleeping all night. So I was like, nah, actually... This is how I'm casting now. Like, ByuN is imagining Solar. Alright, Command Center first, because ByuN has never met a all-in that he couldn't defend with like 6 SCVs and 2 Hellions. Gonna sleep all night? Wait, is that an accomplishment? Honestly, for me, it would be. One, I'm a vampire, and two, you know, as I get older, believe it or not, every single day I age, which is, like and subscribe for Existential Dread. As I get, when I was younger, a superpower would be like, I guess the most obvious one would be a superpower being not needing to sleep, okay? I think there was a time in my life when I thought, oh, then I could ladder on SC2 for 17 hours a day and spend the other 7 with your mom. But now that I've more closer to Hero than Clem's age, which again, that's kind of just how it works, but my superpower would be being able to sleep whenever I wanted, for as long as I wanted. If I could just say, I just want to be asleep for like 7 hours right now. Just boom. You know how many videos you get? All right, you know how many channels I'd be running? Probably one more. Solar's trash talking him for going Command Center first again, right? If I know Solar, again, again, sit up, and maybe you can deal with it. Yeah, that's right. Thank you for smelling it. I don't speak Korean, but I do speak StarCraft. Oh my, look at that little thing. The Moopy just banging on the Marine helmet there. Copyright free reference. To Spaceballs, I think. Dun 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 dun. No, Jimmy! Gonna need to edit that one out too. Too close. Well, so the reason you can't deal with a Command Center first Terran, I think Solar kind of demonstrated last game why even if you do a strong... Zerg doesn't have any way to attack without going all in the early game. If you don't commit everything, sometimes it's better to just have done nothing. Again, I'm referencing last game as an example. Because even if they don't go for Marines, they usually have Banshees. And your anti-air is a bunch of geriatric queens trying to fling their knitting needles off the creep. as opposed to any sort of reliable option. So if they build a single Banshee, then any attack is just nothing. Like, you don't even, like, and that is, it's not necessarily imbalanced, okay? There's a big difference. A lot of people conflate imbalance with design. It's like, well, you could win 50% of games. If 50% of games, Zerg won if they survived past the 5-minute mark, but the other 50%, like, they weren't allowed to play until the 5-minute mark. Okay, that's not a good example. But I guess win rates at different stages of the game is the most relevant part. But I'm personally not a huge fan. I think it's partially because of in Legacy of the Void, the economy scales so quickly. I say in Legacy of the Void, like the last decade of StarCraft 2, but the economy starts so large and just keeps getting larger. Phrasing. So that way there's not really the window before you already have both the economy and the tech. Like, before there were 12 workers, I'm not saying we go back to 6 workers, but that is the source of, especially for Zerg, a lot of reduced aggression. You simply cannot attack by the time they already have the tech they need to defend and enough economy to continue progressing. With lower economies, maybe a quick Muta or Roach all-in, you might cut some, but they also have to cut some. But nowadays, it feels like that's not really necessary. As ByuN drops it, oh, time, okay, we're sitting up. Those lings aren't sitting up, those are slow lings. Okay, until Zerglings get speed, I don't feel it. Yeah. Get off, Mike! This is restricted lair space. Really, Brenda, we forgot speed, and you're gonna give them... But the Queen's gonna chase it down, but so far Solar is 4th base. Okay, yeah, that's it. All right. Okay. Put my real caster head on, and my Philips 50mm vented neodymium driver headphones with their open acoustic architecture. And they're covering enough of my face to make the green screen better. Timestamp, Jimmy. But the tank push coming in. Zergling speed still not done. Baneling speed a little bit further behind, but it should be completed by the time this tank push comes together. As rolling around again from the high ground. +1 Carapace complete. The Queen's able to almost knock out one. Taking a volley. There is no alternative 4th. Solar definitely wants to break this. He's bringing it in from the north side as well. The siege tank surrounded. Target fire's pretty good on the Banes, but not good enough. Able to clean it up. Only 1 medevac of Marines is able to escape. And ByuN only has 50 SCVs. He didn't lose any, right? No. Just a little bit slow on the production. And so, well, another key point is Solar did not take any damage because ByuN went command center first into 3CC. His first aggression was those first 2 medevacs. So if those aren't able to slow things down enough, well then the Zerg start to spiral. All right, that exponential curve is taking off now. As you see, the income starting to climb for Solar. Significantly quicker than ByuN, who hasn't even taken his 3rd base yet, as Solar goes for a 5th. He does have the 3rd command center, but he needs to move it over, like, yesterday. Or at least 3 minutes ago. Ricky! Ricky, the accidental swarm host. The Queens! Oh, no. Getting gunned down, but the reason you see Ricky, the accidental swarm host, is because the default hotkey for the swarm host, both on grid, I believe, and for default hotkeys, is A. So if you happen to be selecting anything, well, your larva, when you think you're A moving, that's when Ricky pops into existence. And is common enough. But much like many of us out there, an accident. But talk to your mother. Call sometime. Solar, as As is customary, gonna pretend like it was... Go get him, Ricky! Just gonna pretend like he meant to do it. Alright, playing it off. Hive is on the way now. ByuN down 30 supply. Solar's gotten to 80 drones. Just sightseeing. Not willing to kill him. But also, we'll see if the medevacs spot it. Ultraless Cavern. On the way. As Solar in a much better position to leverage that hive tech. The queens, get off my queen! And, oh my. Now I'm gonna sleep the whole night. No, Ricky, run! Ricky, run! Ricky, run! Then pop the locust! Yeah. That's so sad. Just let him. No. He even microed them. Lings and Banes. Across there are 140 Zerglings on the field. Couple Ultras in production. And ByuN has not really been able to make any progress here. Usually you see a Terran maxed out at around 9 minutes or so, but instead ByuN at 155 supply at 10.5. And the Zergling's just running by. He's just gonna go for it, trying to break the front line. And this might be a bit optimistic from Solar, but he immediately refills with 40 more Zerglings. He has the economy, he has the map so far. And the creep just metastasizing. Over halfway across. The base is kind of jammed in the center, but the Ultra! Daddy's home. Does he have Ultra speed? No. Well, Chitinous Plating isn't even done yet, but there's not that much firepower for ByuN. 17 SCVs dead, he just taps it out. Looks like Solar not taking his sleep yet. Yeah, that was a sentence. Not a good one, but... Anyways, match point. These two, evenly matched, both in their aggression and their less than perfect micro here today. So, I believe this tournament started at like 7 a.m. Korean time. So, that may explain both these nerds... You know, maybe that's why. I actually caught a bit of it live. And, yeah. So, both these nerds, I feel like their alarm for, like, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, which is when about 2/3 of all weekly tournaments are held. And just on the weekend for many larger tournaments. Their alarms are just every 8 hours to wake up or stop what they're doing and go play in another tournament. That's literally how it feels sometimes. But, I mean, it's not how it feels. It is what it is. So, the 4 horsemen of these tournaments, maybe 5 with Solar back from vacation. But, Hero, MaxPax, Clem, ByuN, and maybe Solar now. Solar on vacation was very much felt as we had multiple tournaments without a single Zerg player. Finally, we've gotten rid of them. Like, what about Cyril? And what about him? Because there are no major tournaments, and Cyril has not signed up for anything for over a month. So, I mean, since he didn't quite win Maestros of the game. So, what a great tournament. Honestly, my favorite probably this year. This has become a bit of a cluster of a cast, but I blame the players, all right? You can't expect me to sit here with my 50mm vented Philips neodymium driver headphones and take things seriously while these two are trash talking each other and trying to figure out who's going to fall asleep first. All right, and ByuN offering great health advice, and Solar wanting to leave the tournament multiple games ago. Unfortunately for Solar, he stumbled into a victory as ByuN unable to make any progress. He went. Is he gonna? He went command center first again. All right. Check the APMs. He's in English. Notice they're typing and still able to maintain their APM. That's professional gaming right there. Your WPM and APM both need to remain high. There's no way that's not about the CC first. Yeah, it's me again. Hey, it's me, ByuN. Thank you, referring to CC. I do appreciate Bomioljif filling us in here, making sure we got the context. Just in case you're joining us, it's game 5. Nobody's listening that closely, anyways. So, unless they have these amazing 50mm vented Philips Hue. Okay, stop. Why do I have to look at it every time? Do I have that little memory? That's concerning. Now that I think about it. I mean, it was part of the bit, but also, I did forget. So, what does that say about me? Let's not worry about that. Let's worry about how Solar is going to deal with yet another command center first in the 3CC. He tried the aggression, it didn't work out, but honestly, last game, ByuN did the greed 3CC, and Solar just kind of shut it down. There's a reason why most players favor, and by that I mean mostly Clem, favor the 1-1-1 into command center as opposed to command center first, because if you don't slow down the Zerg early, it still very much holds true. They're going to be exponentially harder to deal with later. This time around, he's actually going for Cloak Banshee as opposed... But actually going for Cloak Banshee as opposed to relying on the Marines and Medivacs, so has significantly more options to deal with anything early. Double evolution chamber right off the bat, though, for Solar. Going to have those upgrades. Have an upgrade advantage over the Terran. ByuN will be getting his double engineering bay momentarily. Thank you. But as long as the creep looks so crazy on this map. Hold it together. Wait, are those trees? The mini-map. What is going on with the mini-map? It looks like lava pools, but it's actually just trees. That is misleading. I mean, I didn't think it would be lava. This isn't beyond all reason, but... Why does it look so crazy? Satellite Years, the name of the map. The Spore Crawler anticipating a Liberator and almost losing the Banshee right off the bat, but now the Spore's going to have to wriggle its way over. Regrets. 5 drones dead to the casual Banshee. The Zerglings will get in and kill off a Marine and drag all of the Hellions. This is actually a huge deal. The Zerglings killing off the SCVs at the 3rd, but dragging all of the Hellions back to the natural off the map right as Solar is taking a 4th base and creeping forward. That is the real win here. More than the actual damage done. The map control at this stage is critical. ByuN's composition is designed to try to keep control of the creep and keep the unit count down, or at least keep it at a certain level that helps control the economy. But dragging those Hellions all the way back home has clearly... Hey! Hey, stop using Apple Maps, Brenda! You guys have maps? Sorry. It's been a mess. Are those Banshees? What's going on out there? Prototype. Wait. What a mess it was. I'm losing it. these players as well, though. Okay, feels like from the start it was already lost, and they're just trying to hold it together. But here we are, 1-1 done for Solar. Already has an infestation, but on the way, the Hellions gonna charbroil some of the drones. Zerglings wrap around, and that was pretty terrible. 2 drones for all of those Hellions. Up. Activates the cloak. Immediately driven back, the Overseer in position. Kind of a reflex thing, I think, there, more than anything. I don't know. Meanwhile, Marines, siege tank. That's a straight up push down the center. And Baneling speed isn't quite done yet. So, this has some real potential here. The Queen's gonna be targeted as well. Pulls back the siege tank right around the side of the rocks. I would expect some of us in the red. Oh, he's trying to drop out the Marines to pick up the tank. Drops out some more. Oh no! The priority citizens. The siege tank getting first class treatment. The Marines getting pushed into the unit's lost tab. But Solar, now he's got 81 drones. He's got 4 going on 5 bases. He's got 2 upgrades of the Hive on the way. He's got everything a Zerg could want. And you can't always get what you want. But sometimes, if you get a good enough start, you can get what you need. And right now, he needs a couple infestors to tie it all together. But otherwise, Solar in a very good spot, despite the supplies. Okay, well, could have waited like 10 seconds. ByuN! Well, the Banshees killed off a few drones, so that's something. The Banelings killed off a lot more Marines. The Ultralisk Cavern is on the way. And Solar in prime position to use those Ultralisks to cleave through. Another wave of Lings and Banes. He still maintains like a 20-second upgrade on the upgraded Vantage. I was gonna say upgrade on the upgrade. With 2 Ds for a double dose of upgrades, but siege tank, couple on the low ground. ByuN trying to keep the pressure on, but this, he doesn't have a 4th base. Solar has 5. That means if he loses anything on the field, Solar can just run across and potentially crush him, or at least deny most of the economy. So we're now trying to extend. Oh, wow. Look at all those Lings. 125 Lings on the field. Chasing down the reinforcements. The Liberators. A Venn diagram of freedom will help. But the sheer quantity of Zerglings is a quality all its own. Gets into the mineral line. And ByuN, where are you going? He's not sure. Send some forward, send some back. But the damage is already done. The SCVs will be slaughtered. And the push is stalled out at best. The Chew Toy Depot. Adrenal Gland is about to finish, making it even easier for these Zerglings to get the damage done. Chitinous plating, most of the way there, jamming these tanks into the corner to minimize that surface area. But the Zerglings have gotten so much. Almost gets a siege tank as well. And Solar, looks like it's not nap time yet. Looking very good to take it all home. He just needs to crush this push. The Queen's coming forward. The siege tanks, the Liberators. Quite a spread here, but the Queen's keeping the Ultralisks mostly intact. The tank yanks in a Liberator. What is it? Finally takes it down with the Queens. The Zerglings looking for a counter and probably going to be looking elsewhere, but Zerglings streaming across the map past the wall, gonna target it. The depots as well. ByuN doesn't have any other bases. But the Queens slaughter the Monarch, even removed from the field. He's down to 0 Queens, which is not very many. Another drop, dragging some of this back. 100 to 100 army supply. ByuN, tearing through yet another hatchery. A drop in the main, and his best opportunity is to continue the momentum with the army he has, but ByuN has already lost so much The mules will drop and the Zerglings come back in immediately. Solar will trade the Lings to make sure ByuN's economy stays almost entirely in critical condition. 18 drones died, but I think Solar replaced them before that counter even came up. 80 drones, still. A Spire is halfway done, despite that Overlord. Ooh, don't look at my Spire. Oh my, what are we doing today? I don't know. There were some, I believe that was a Brood War tactic of blocking things like a Spire with your Overlords so they literally couldn't see them. Hard to pull off in StarCraft too. But meanwhile, the Marines on the left side. ByuN backed into a corner. Makes him the most dangerous. All he has left to do is micro his Marines and medevacs or die trying. And while we're trending towards the second thing, it's not impossible we end up with the first. Meanwhile, the Spore Car gets caught out of position. The main base under fire. Another army over to the right flank. No other army over to the right flank. Ultralisk Cavern will be targeted. And the Marines will be picked up. And the Ultra Cavern. And now 10 Corruptors on the way. Parasitic Bomb. Medevacs refusing to die. And helping make sure the Marines also follow through on those same activities. The drops are all over the place. Solar unable to reliably deal with the medevacs until these Corruptors finally come out. But eventually, a Knitting Needle finds one of them. Now it looks like he'll finish off that Ultra Cavern. But the main base loses the Ultra Cavern, could lose the spawning pool as well. Limiting, well, that actually limits Solar to only building Infestors. Okay, he's got a lot of options, but Infestors, Banelings, and Spire units. I completely blanked on that, but building some more Corruptors. The Banelings crashing through. A whole bunch of Widow Mines. The Marauders tanking a whole lot of the Baneling damage. The Liberators will be knocked down. The Medevac shouldn't be too far behind. Zergling counterattack. Still keep it. 42 SCVs is not the solution that ByuN is looking for. Though it is the answer to many things. Somehow ByuN is not dead yet. I'm surprised Solar didn't just build like 10 Infestors when he realized that there was literally no other options. But this is exhausted Zerg here. I don't want to use any of these silly spellcasters. Just A-move some more Ultras and Banes and hope the Widow Mines don't hit too hard. That does seem to be the current objective for Solar. Though possibly the only way that ByuN could scrape a victory out of this situation. As another Widow Mine slams home. ByuN's army supply, he's got the 3-3 upgrades now. Cancels another base, takes out yet another hatchery. Solar's been maxed out for 5 minutes straight, but has yet to be able to pin down this army. More Widow Mines, Parasitic Bomb, the splash damage in the ground and the sky. But the Ultras, Widow Mines almost hitting the Corruptors, which wouldn't be a huge deal. Some drones rallied out. Would you die? Apparently not. And now, awkwardly, Solar with a Congress of Corruptors in the sky. They make up a quarter of his army supply, kind of like ByuN on Throne of the Dunes. I completely forgot which game that was. Where he had so much in the medevacs that he almost lost because he had no ground units. But here, 4 Infestors in production as Solar begrudgingly realizes, more like accepts that he needs them. But then, ByuN does him the service of just dying anyways. Wow, what a roller coaster of a series. Is he gonna... Here. GG. Solar, despite his best efforts and his interest in moving on to his bed as opposed to the next series, will win 3-2 as ByuN kind of phoning it in on... I do think Solar has played against that style of ByuN so many times. And if Zerg can get enough economy... I mean, ByuN definitely overcommitted in many different ways, but Solar taking full advantage of ByuN not putting the pressure on early. And it doesn't matter how many units he loses. Again, I think every single game this series, Solar lost more resources, and by not a small margin. But the Rocky Zerg rolls with the punches, and when it comes to the final round, Yet again, he survives. Another brawl between these two. A bit of a more casual cast, but I feel like channeling the energy of the players is also... This doesn't have to be the most serious Zen monk laser-focused game every time. It can actually be fun. Like, games are supposed to be, I hear. Bunch of nerds saying that, though. All right, games are supposed to stress you out, raise your blood pressure, and have you beg people to subscribe on Patreon to pay for your health insurance. That's what games are about. Right? Or maybe not. Either way. If you got the means of motivation, be awesome. Check out Patreon, YouTube membership. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free. At least for now. And, thank you to our meal tier patrons, bringing in those extra minerals, unlike ByuN. Big Jig, Devin, Dordrek, Kate, Mario, Suit. Glad you still enjoy. I hope to see you next time. Thank you for watching. Good luck. Have fun. Stay tuned.